What was you guys' reaction to the news that Netflix bought Warner Brothers?
I was a little shocked. I didn't think like Netflix would get the bag, but it was like, well, here we are. And so it's crazy. Like when this news dropped, immediately someone from Netflix, like the PR people, began dropping like little nuggets here and there, saying like, "Oh, don't worry, HBO Max is still going to be its own streaming service for now." And then a little bit later, they're like, "Oh, don't worry, we're still going to drop some things in the theater." But they always ended it with the words like "for now," something along those lines. And it's like they're trying to say everything to kind of make sure this merger or this buyout goes through without like, oh no, HBO Max is gonna, because then you go through all the discussion. HBO Max is gonna merge with Netflix. Netflix is gonna raise their prices. At that point, if that's true, all Netflix needs to do is get local television channels, like some like YouTube TV stuff, and that's all you'll need. All you'll need is Netflix. You won't need anything else. Don't have to get all this other streaming stuff. And what will that do for the other streaming services? Are they just going to crash and burn because everyone will just turn into Netflix? How much more are they going to charge per month? Is that going to go up? Of course, the Snyderverse comes into question, even though Netflix kind of got rid of Zack Snyder after he bombed and cost them a lot of money. But all that stuff kind of came up. So, yeah, they were just throwing out little things here and there. And there's just a lot of speculation as to what that would actually look like, if Netflix took over. Is that the end of the movie theater experience? The theater's just gonna like turn into something different. They're gonna have to get recreative, for people to come back, because it's just gonna show older films. I don't know. I don't know. But so there was a lot of speculation on Friday, and then the big one was, would Trump even allow it? Because
and that was one of the things when this got in. When this got announced, because of the friendly-ish nature of the Ellisons and Trump's relationship, with the idea that basically all of Hollywood would oppose this, bipartisan support from the government to potentially oppose this because of the enormous amount of the streaming subscribers that Netflix would then control. Would this actually go through? And then, reports started coming out. Ted Sarandos actually went to meet with Donald Trump at the White House last month to see if all this would be happening. But as I said on FNT, Paramount's not done. Paramount's pissed that they missed out on this because from their perspective, their bid was better than Netflix's bid. You know who it's not better for is David Zaslav and some of the execs at Warner Brothers. So Paramount was always going to come directly to the shareholders. They had said that even last week when this thing went through, that there were plans potentially for that to happen. And now that is exactly what is happening. Paramount is officially launching a hostile bid to buy Warner Brothers. Offers $108.4 billion versus Netflix $82.7. Paramount wants to buy all of Warner Brothers, including the TV business. Netflix offer is inferior. According to Paramount, the Netflix offer is inferior and provides uncertain value. When it comes to this, we had heard that this was probably going to happen. And what they mean by a hostile takeover bid, it means they're appealing directly to the shareholders right now for Warner
Brothers.
Thanks
for explaining that to me.
Yes, Jay's like, what does that mean?
I didn't know. And that's legit. I was like, what does this mean exactly? How do you hostile take over with the same bid? So I didn't know. Right.
So there's a couple big differences. 15%, I believe, of that bid may have been in some way, shape, or form Netflix stock. As 85% was cash from Netflix, whereas this is 100% cash. Now, some of it's borrowed from other places or invested from other places, but it's 100% cash at that $30 per share, whereas the Netflix one is closer to the like $27 range, maybe 27 and some cents. And then they're assuming that when it splits off and you just have the television cable Discovery Group, that's not going to be the Warner Brothers and the studios and HBO Max, that will make up an additional $4. A lot of people think it'd be closer to $2. So this is what's happening right now. Paramount is going to the shareholders and they are telling you that David Zaslav's trying to screw you over. We offered more money. We have more money for you if you take ours instead. The Netflix deal is very good for David Zaslav and the board of directors. That's why they took it. That's going to kind of be the messaging. I don't know how well that's going to be played out. This is the same exact bid reportedly that they submitted and got turned down. This is not like an increased bid. This is what they proposed already. On Monday, Ellison's Paramount Skydance announced at a convention all-cash tender offer to acquire all the outstanding shares of Warner Brothers Discovery for $30 per share, the same terms it offered in a December 4th bid submitted to Warner Brothers Discovery board. Paramount proposed transaction for the entirety of Warner Brothers Discovery, including the TV business with CNN, TBS, TNT, and other networks. Paramount's announcement, taking its bid directly to the shareholders, comes after Netflix and Warner Brothers revealed their binding agreement, which Netflix would buy Warner Brothers studio operations for $72 billion, with an enterprise value of $82.7 billion. According to Paramount, its all-cash offer equates to an enterprise value of $108.4 billion, including the assumption of debt. In contrast, and here's where I was talking earlier about the price per shares and what they would like get from the stock and things like this, right? A volatile complex structure valued at $27.75, $27.75 per share in a mix of cash and stock, subject to collar and the future performance of Netflix, equating to an enterprise value of $82.7 billion, excluding the TV biz, per Paramount. So they are not walking away from this. And there's a lot of other things to talk about. Everyone in Hollywood hates this. They know it's not good. They know that Netflix buying it is the worst case scenarios for theaters. The theaters are against it. Directors are against it. Actors, everybody's fucking against it. Then you also have what seems to be bipartisan support potentially for looking into this and potentially stopping it on a legal level with the government. Now, Trump is the wild card, right? Because I told this to Jeremy while we were on the phone when we were talking about whether Netflix is going to make it happen or not. And I said that, you know what? All it's going to take for Trump to like be okay with it is somebody goes in there and sucks his dick. If somebody goes in there and jerks him off and plays nice with them, he'll be nice with them. That's kind of what Trump does. And it looks like that's what Ted Sarandos did. Even just like today, Trump's lashing out against Ellison-owned Paramount, saying no better than the old ownership, as he lashed out at the company for over a 60 minutes interview with Marjorie Taylor Greene. So a lot of this could be posturing. A lot of this could be, hey, fix this shit and maybe I'll fucking step in and do this, which I think is kind of bullshit in general. But look, some people have reported that a Trump insider, a Trump admin regulator, says Warner Brothers is more likely to collect its $5.8 billion breakup fee than get this Netflix deal through the regulatory process. So this is no done deal by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
I don't think that the appeal to shareholders is necessarily going to work because you need to get so many on board. I think the governmental interference in some way is probably more likely for a way for this to get shot down. But I don't know, man.
If the thought process is if Netflix was so bad all around, why would they even pick them first when Paramount's offering more money? Why would they even go with Netflix first? Is that because like the players are getting better incentives?
Look, David Zaslav is going to be able to stay in some sort of power. He's probably going to get crazy fucking benefits.
Got it.
That's what the guess is from a lot of people.
That's why he would go with Netflix, because they sweetened his deal. I got it.
So
I got it.
You know, we'll see, because this the Paramount thing happened this morning about 2 hours before we went live, when they I'd been talking about this even on Friday that this was going to happen, but now it's official. They've like come out and announced it.
Do you think we'll see a crazy curveball and like Comcast comes out on top of like the bidding wars or something like that, or maybe it would be easier for them to sell Warner Brothers in pieces than it is as a whole? Like maybe that's why. Maybe that the government might step in and be like that. They're like, we don't want Paramount to own the whole thing, so we'll let them sell pieces of it here and pieces of it there, and then everybody gets a little piece of the pie, I guess. The thing is, like, if Comcast owns it, you wonder if they will like merge the news. If they get, because they already have MSNBC. There's a lot of like how all this would fit in, how it all would work. That's the thing. So it's like, because I saw Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas, tweeting about it, saying you can't let Paramount have this because it's too much for one company to own.
You mean Netflix?
Or and then it's exactly, and then it's like you wonder if they'll say the same thing about Paramount. So then what's the solution? Warner Brothers has to sell it in pieces. So if that's the case, then maybe everybody gets a little piece. I'm just like curious to see where the DC would go and all that. Not too concerned about the television stuff side of it, but like just some of the bigger IPs that they have. It'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, Comcast is done. Like that's not happening anymore. But
because they didn't want the whole thing, right? They just wanted like a section of it because they don't need like the streaming service stuff, like the television show stuff. They don't need any of that.
So they really want the streaming aspect and they really want the studio stuff. What they don't want are the television things. Now,
correct.
Comcast wanted exactly what Netflix wanted.
Got it.
Comcast wanted exactly what Netflix wanted, whereas Paramount was the only one that wanted to buy the entire fucking thing.
Yeah, the whole thing. Okay.
Yes. So we'll see. I don't know what happens. I really don't. I think there was such belief that Netflix wouldn't be able to get it through a regulatory process that it was a really far-reaching shot that it would happen. But now here it is, and they've agreed to the deal. Putting $5 billion, $6 billion on the line in case it does fall through is a lot of fucking money. Certainly, it's Netflix. It's a drop in the bucket for Netflix, which is crazy but true. But I don't think they would have just willy-nilly done it if they weren't fairly confident that they had checked all the boxes that they thought they could get it through. But now Paramount's going directly to shareholders and say, hey, you're getting fucked over with this deal, by the way. Why don't you take some more fucking cash from us?
What if they, yeah, that's what I'm saying. What if there was like a scheme involved? They're like, we'll say we agree to Netflix. Maybe that'll make Paramount's bid go higher. And it already was to make more money. Man, who knows? Watch Disney end up with a piece of this when it's all said and done.
So here's the other thing. Because this is not exactly binding, right? There's money involved, but it's not exactly binding. So say Paramount tomorrow was like, fuck it. We'll go up to $35 a share, 100 fucking 30 billion, or whatever the fuck that number is, which is crazy. It's insane. It's not worth that much. Like 4 months ago, Warner Brothers stock was at $10 per share.
Yeah.
It did not go up. It did not increase in value. This is even after Superman. This is after everything, all the things they try to think were successes. It was when it was up for sale that the stock started shooting up because people knew that it was going to fucking sell for more than it is. Right? So people that were trying to get on that really quick. And now it's sitting, 26, 27, whatever it fucking is. If Paramount comes in and says $35 a share, Warner Brothers could be like, okay, that's fine. We'd actually rather take that. Fuck that. Fuck you, Netflix. Now, Paramount, we do have a $3 billion essentially buyout, like termination fee. If we decide not to go through with this, can you cover that too? They'll be like, yeah, sure, we'll cover that. And they'll go. But I don't know.